In a 2005 commencement speech at Stanford University, Steve Jobs said the following:
"You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards."
You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down and has made all the difference in my life. As powerful as those words are, and that's something I've reflected on many, many times in the past, at its core, that message is a reframe. It basically says, hey, everything's going to work out, keep going. And even if you don't understand it from this frame of reference you're at right now, don't worry, it will in the future. And just like internalizing the concept of connecting the dots in the future can foster faith and resilience, if you really want to get good at reframing yourself and others, you're going to want to memorize these 5 reframing templates. And while there are potentially an infinite number of reframes that exist, if you can memorize and internalize what I'm about to share with you, these 5 will shift your mindset instantly in most scenarios. And you might not have to wait until the dots all line up to create a more empowering and positive meaning. Number 1 is, isn't it great that? And of course, you insert positive benefit here based on the situation. Remember, timing is really important on these things. You don't always have to lead with a reframe. You can start with some empathy and understanding. And when the timing makes sense, then you can bring out this template. So let's imagine that you get fired. Well, obviously, that's not a fun thing. But on the other side of this, you might look back and say, you know what, isn't it great that you're able to start this chapter with a clean slate? That's not going to solve the problem of employment, but it's going to begin to shift the perspective on what the meaning is around getting fired. Now you'll have more time to actually go out and interview and find the right company that's going to be a long-term fit for you. This is the power of reframing. It's not ignoring reality, it's changing the way we look at reality so we can take empowered action. Let's imagine you miss a project deadline. Well, isn't it great that we identify that there's some bottlenecks in our process so that we can make sure that this doesn't happen again? To use this reframing template, all you have to do is memorize, isn't it great that, and then allow your unconscious mind to fill in the blank based on what you know about the person and the situation. Number 2 is, this is an opportunity to, and then we fill in the blank based on the situation. So let's go back to our example of missing a deadline. This is an opportunity to improve our process to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. Let's say you lost a major client. Well, this is an opportunity to examine our client interactions to make sure we're delivering on our value proposition. So when it's time to reframe the problem, we face the situation and say, you know what, this is an opportunity to, and then we fill in the blank based on what it's actually going to allow us to do in the future. Now, this next one comes with a little bit of a warning because it requires rapport and timing. Well, at least you won't have to X anymore, whatever X is. And this one obviously is focusing on some past pain that they now get to avoid based on the problem that we're experiencing. So back to getting fired. Well, at least you won't have to commute 2 hours to work every day. Well, that might not be the first thing you say to someone who just lost their job, but at some point that might be a reframe that can help them begin to shift their perspective on losing their job. As another example, let's imagine that you own your business and you have an unfortunately high turnover rate. Well, at least you won't have to worry about retaining employees who aren't a good fit. After all, there is such a thing as having too low of turnover, isn't there? And for number 4, we have a general reframe that can work just about anywhere. And it goes like this. This just means we're getting closer. This just means we're making progress. We're on the path. This just means that we're getting better because these are new problems for us that we haven't experienced before. And finally, we have number 5, which is about learning. And that is the concept that there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. So I'm glad that we're learning this now so that it doesn't have to happen again. We can actually combine that with number 1 that we did before. Isn't it great? Isn't it great that we're learning this now, that we don't have to mess up with bigger clients? So that's our 5 ready to use reframing templates you can use for self and others. And behind every good reframe is a solid positive belief system. To help with that, check out the video on screen. And if you're not opposed to it, hit subscribe to stay connected and ring the notification bell to join the conversation. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, develop yourself, empower others, and lead by example.